First question, who eats meat? Quite a lot. To be fair, who eats just vegetables? Also, nice. Who's a vegan? Oh, nice. Very good. Thanks for being here. Thanks for having me. Thanks for Grzegorz. I met Grzegorz 7 years ago, and it all started with our love for sausage. And I'm going to tell you now how I'm not a butcher, actually. I'm a designer. I studied at an art school. How I started a butchery and how I started some kind of a meaty revolution. Does it work? Yes. I want to start with this picture. This is some kind of a plant. You see you see a big wall in the back. You see some kind of a barbed wire fence in the front. And I wanted to ask you what you think this could be. There are also some security people running up and down with dogs. And what might it be? Just throw it at me. What could it be? Any ideas? It's a big slaughterhouse. It's one of the biggest in Europe, and it stands somewhere in the woods in Germany. I went there a few years ago, and it's not working. There you see some cameras observing us, and I was there to protest because they slaughter 500,000 chickens a day. 500,000 chickens a day. Half a million animals are dying there. People that are working there are coming, some of them are coming from Poland too. That's very interesting, but now they're too expensive. Now we get them from Ukraine. They are working there. They're very cheap. Sometimes they get taken away their passport, and they work there under conditions that are really cruel. I was there to protest. We surrounded the whole thing with 5,000 people. We put some posters there, vegans, vegetarians, meat eaters together. I was really fed up, but the strange thing is I'm not a vegan now, and I'm going to tell you why. This is something that I discovered in the end of my studies. This is like the picture of a butcher and how sausage culture is perceived in Germany. Very traditional. You see like some of the pictures you also showed in your presentation, like the pig that is happy to be eaten. And I was like, come on, that's not really, what is that? As a designer, I really got a toothache there. It's not really working. Then I met this guy. He was a butcher, and he looked different than all the other butchers that I met before. And he showed me how he slaughtered a pig, the pig that is coming there a day before. It rests down, it's stressless, and then he kills it very quick. I didn't see any screaming, any stress for the pig, and he's making a sausage out of it, and the sausage was a traditional sausage that my grandmother used to have in her pantry. So I know the sausage. And he told me that the sausage is almost dying out because nobody's doing anymore. We not only have farms that are closing down, we also have butcheries dying because every sausage is produced in big plants. So I decided to make a little book about it as a designer to save the sausage that I knew from my grandmother. And I explained to the people that in the sausage, I don't know if this is a cliche in Poland too, but in Germany it's like in the sausage it's only the dirty rest that you scrape together at the end of the day, and it's just the bullshit. And I tried to show the people that it's not the bullshit, it's actually very good parts except the fillet and maybe the head that is in the sausage. So I tried to explain to people the worth of a good sausage, and it's really a quality food that has been for months in aging rooms traditionally, and not produced in like a few weeks with lots of chemicals like the industry is doing it. So I tried to save the sausage and try to make clear that the sausage is a lot of work for the butcher and that he loses a lot of weight during the ripening phase. Like this is the fresh sausage and this is the sausage after 6 weeks, and after a month it's getting smaller and smaller and smaller, and that's why he has to have good money for it, because the sausage that you buy in a supermarket is mostly consisting out of water that you put in there with lots of chemicals. And then I did something else because it was like, my heart was really bleeding when I saw the situations of butchers in Germany, that I got together with a team, like a crazy cooking team. We did dinner clubs together, and this was our Wurstgalerie. We gathered products from the best butchers in Germany and we put it up like a gallery. You see it there. Normally there are closes on these things, and we showed them there, and they had little name tags actually, so people could see where the sausage was coming from, the name of the butcher who made it, and sometimes also the animal that was inside the sausage. And we also made sausage on the spot so people understand what's there. And I did a talk about good animal husbandry, what we might discuss later on. And then on this trip, just remember, I was still a designer. I was still this guy just writing about food. I still was confronted with this picture of a butcher. I don't know, maybe you try to imagine like your cliche picture of a butcher in Poland. How does he look like? And for us, it's mostly like this little fat guy that, you know, has his little sausage here and he get a price for it, you know? And some guy, I met these kind of people. These like young people that somehow did something different. These are two guys in Stockholm that are so fed up with the system that the lady before me talked about. The bullshit meat that we get from bullshit farms and bullshit companies, and they started their own butchery and they became butchers. These are not like models that just, you know, some hipsters that got some meat on their shoulders. These are real butchers. I met like these people, this guy from Lima, for instance, or these people in New York, and they cut up meat. This is not in a back room. That is in front of the customers. They show what kind of meat they use. They show their craft, and they show that they are like different people. And this somehow revolutionized the idea or the image of a butcher that I had. And I was thinking, if this craft is dying, I have to do something. So I started to work on a book, and I gathered all these stories that were coming to my mind, like all these butchers that did something new, and also farmers, because Michael Pollan, a famous, I think, American food revolutionist, he said about my book that it's not only showing that there are new hipster butchers in town, it's showing a new partnership between farmers and butchers. Because all these butchers in the book only get better meat to the people if they have a new partnership with farmers. So I also portrayed farmers in the book. And not only that, I tried to explain to people, this is like the pig that lots of our pigs inherit from. This is the wild pig. This, you know this, Mangalitsa? They look like woolen pigs. They are very woolen, they look like a nice pullover outside. And this is a Trupolje, that's from the Balkans. It's also a nice pig. And this is a saddleback pig, also an old breed. The strange thing is, if we give children pencils and a piece of paper to draw a pig, what color is the pig? Take out your phones and try to find an emoji of a pig. What color is it? Pink. Pink animals are just designed for pig stalls that are always inside. If a pig goes outside, it gets sunburn. It's just like us. So that's why the old breeds that we inherited from our grandfathers and the generations before all are not pink. Maybe somewhere, but most of them are like black or woolen or something to survive outside. So if you want to have better meat, you have to have different breeds. This is also something that I showed in the book. And then I also went to these farms. It's one of the oldest breed in Germany we have, the Schwäbisch-Hellisch, sorry for translation, Schwäbisch-Hellisches Landschwein. It almost died out. It was the most famous pig in the beginning of the century, but it died out because it was not productive enough. It was too fat. We have to talk about fat later on also. And it was too slowly growing. The pigs that you're eating are 4 to 5 months old. This, to be eaten, has to live at least a year and a half or 2 years. It died out, and there were only like 9 sows left, and the farmer saved this pig from dying out. And now they are being held in the outside and being fed with akins. They are almost the same quality as the black pigs, you know, probably from Spain, that produce this amazing ham. There you see them looking for akins. And I explain in my book that the pig consists more of the fillet and the schnitzel. You know how many percent a fillet is of a pig? How many percent? Yeah, you know it. Come on, guess. Numbers. How many percent? 10%? 3, 7, 1. It's around 2 to 3% a fillet. And what's with the rest? Do we eat it? And I also explained that there are more than, you know, just fresh meat cuts. There are also different sausages from around the world that we also lose. You know, if you go to a normal supermarket, you find generalized, easily produced sausages and not the variety that we all love. You know, I don't know, Jitrinice from Poland, from the Czech Republic, the Ale Wurst from my grandmother. You don't find it in a supermarket. If when you find it, it's bullshit because it's full of chemicals. So I also try to explain people what's behind the product. And the hard part of the book was to show the new butchers, you know? Young guys that revolutionized the image of a butcher for me and also revolutionized the trade of a butcher, which is like not disconnected, being disconnected from the farmer and from the people who slaughter the pigs. And I also wanted to have recipes in it. And because I thought, like, you can make who made a sausage on his own? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. In the Eastern countries, I think there's more tradition to do your own stuff. You know, there are still these slaughter feasts. In Germany, nobody's doing sausage on their own anymore. So I tried to put it in the book. And on this voyage, I met this guy. That's Jörg. Jörg dropped out of school when he was 15. I went to high school. I went to a nice university. I got a, how do you say, stipendium. You know, I got paid by the government because I was so good. You know, and I was 30 and almost 30, and I was like, I didn't work ever, but I was so educated. This guy became a butcher when he was 15. He worked as a butcher, and next to that, he went to high school to get his degree. Next to that, he also studied, and then he became one of the best butchers in Germany when he was 18. He became a master butcher. And I met him through the book, and I did a pop-up butchery with him, where we split up stuff in front of people at a food festival like this, and showed people how a sausage is made. So I met him, and we took 3 other butchers, and we decided to open a butchery. Why? Because all the stuff that I put in the book and all the passion that I put into this thing, I didn't find in Germany. There are no butchers anymore. And if you ask, probably, I had like 2 or 3 talks yesterday at the dinner, and people are like, yeah, they're not real butchers in Warsaw anymore. Where can I get good meat? The same problem in Berlin, the same problem around the world. They're going to tell you later on, that you don't find proper meat from good animals and well-slaughtered animals and well-lived animals anymore. So we took these guys and we opened a butchery called Kumpel and Keule, meaning like brothers and bro in a way. And the butchery was like, we designed it like the butchery of our dreams. Imagine like a whole thing out of glass. Here in the back, there's the splitting up room, so you see the half animals coming in, like the half pigs, the half lambs and stuff like that. We split it up there. Then you maybe see the meat wolf there, the grinder. We make the fresh meat there, and we also produce the sausage inside this room behind the counter. And then the meat gets here, and what you can see is also there's a grill there. So you have like the whole chain of a butcher's trade, so you get like a connection to your meat again. I don't have to explain these people that we are transparent in our process. They see how we grind like the skin of a lemon inside the sausage. They see us, you know, waging the herbs for the sausage, and they also see that there is not only fillet on the animal. You don't see this in the supermarket. There's just something packed into something. This is how it looks like. You can see us working in there, and people love it. That's the strange thing. We were thinking that we get a lot of attacks because people don't like it, to see where their meat is coming from, but people actually like it. They stand in front of the window and they look at us making the sausage, showing them, you see the little windows? You can ask us questions. What's inside the sausage? Where's the pig coming from? Because the pigs that I show you, we're working together with this farmer. I'm going to show you later on. I have to look for the time. Children are coming. Families are putting their children in front of the window and say, look, this is how the sausage is made. This is what we take home. This is the farmer. Before we set the first stone of a butchery, we met the farmers, because the farmers are the most important stuff. If you're a painter and you work with the crappiest colors, and your picture is white after 2 weeks again because you worked with like the wrong colors, you did something wrong. So this is not a product for us, this is an animal. So we visited the farmer, and now we're getting his animals to our butchery. This is how the meat looks like. This is meat you don't get in the supermarkets because they cut away all the good parts, the fat. This is how cutlets look like, normal cutlets of animals that lived a long life, because you can see there's a lot of fat inside the meat and not just outside. It's not a pumped up suckling pig that you eat after 4 months. It's an animal that's at least 1 or 2 years old. This is a cutlet, a real cutlet of a mangalitsa, of this woolen pig. You don't find these cuts anymore. And everybody's like, oh, that's fat, I don't eat fat. If you eat this fat, if you like meat and if you have a good palate, you will love it, because it's a good fat. It's not like pudding. If you fry the fat from the supermarket meat, it's just pudding after frying. This one is something to bite on. It's super delicious. If you use some like sweet potatoes, mash it up with a little cream, and then put this on top, it's the best. But we don't eat it. We talk about nose to tail and we talk about eating the whole animal, but yeah, we cut away the fat. There's no study in the world proving that fat makes you fat. This is how it looks like afterwards. It's so delicious because also the meat, if you eat meat from animals that live longer and have the chance to have intramuscular fat, it's juicy in the mouth because there's fat inside. It's not getting dry. It's not getting smaller in the pan. This is what we lose if we lose farmers that have real animals, and this is what we lose when we don't have butchers anymore that sell you this meat. This is how marbled, it's not from Kobe or something, from Japan. It's from Germany. You just have to find the right farmer that has old animals that gives you this meat, and a good butcher that can sell it. This is how a filet can look like. You don't find it in any supermarket. And this is something that we got from a butchery, from the slaughterhouse. They called us and they said, we have a very fatty thing, I think it's for you. You're the only one that can sell it in Germany. It's an old cow. And you know how much this is on the internet when it comes from Japan? It's 400 euros a kilo. We sold it for just 100 euros a kilo. And you know how much euros a farmer gets when he delivers this meat, either in Poland, in Germany, or in Spain, or whatever? 3 to 4 euros a kilo, not more, maybe 2. Because it's crappy meat for the normal supermarket or butcher, nobody can sell it. It's ending up in dog food or in, I don't know, some crappy sausage. It's the best meat. We throw it away. This is how we presented stuff. This is also how we work a lot with Instagram and stuff like that. You can follow me visiting the farms. You can follow me visiting our animals. This is also a real picture of our counter. We have the head of the pig in there because we show the whole animal. And we also sell it because these are the parts that are very delicious. Why do we throw this away? You know where these heads go, also in Poland? They go to China because we discard them. It's crap for our society. We sell it. We also show this on Instagram. That's a kidney of a lamb. And then we have like people why is there a kidney on Instagram? It's supposed to be nice pictures. And I was then like, we're a butchery, and this is and one of our aspects of our work, we appreciate the whole animal, and we don't just show you steaks, we show you also the entrails. And then she said like, oh, that's okay, that's interesting. So people also accept it on Instagram. We show portraits of our farmers that are, like I told you, the most important for our quality. We visit them, and we do little portraits about them. We also have the Farmer of the Month. And it's nice when you see like animals on the green. That's a cliche. Most of the animals, like the speaker before me showed me, that's now leaving the room. Why? We want to discuss your thesis afterwards. Okay, because when we talk about fat, do you know what the problem is? When these cows eat grass, their meat and especially the fat has a lot of omega-3 fat acids and has a lot of very good saturated fats that our body can use for energy. If you feed these animals that how many stomachs do they have? Biology class? 6? What are these built for? Are they built for grass or are they built for corn and grains that we feed them in the feedlots? Probably not. They are built for grass. That's how they can digest, and that's how you have healthy animals and healthy meat afterwards. What we do, we feed them grains and we feed them corn, and we get fat that our body can't really use and makes us sick. So if you go to a butcher that has animals that really have eaten the stuff that they are supposed to eat, you probably have a better meat. We do courses, we do workshops, we do train people that an animal is more than the fillet. And we show also gastronomers that they can use the whole animal. That's what we should do with animals. And this is how our butchery has grown in 1.5 years, from like 3 people starting it, or 4, to almost 10 and over 10. And we're opening now a restaurant too, because we want to show people more how you can eat ethical animals. Can I have like 5 more minutes? Because I have like 1 minute left. Okay. She had 10 more. I tried 1 because what she said, I think it's very interesting. Because we as a butchery see, when it comes to ethical meat eating, that we have a contract with the animals and with the farmers. We not only have a contract with the farmers, we have a contract with the animals. Animals, like I showed you, these are not wild boars. And also what G showed in the last picture, these are not wild animals. A cow has to be milked to be alive. a cow gets sick if you don't milk her, because it's a cow that is supposed to live with us. It's not a wild cow. If you have a wild animal, it's maybe possible, but these animals are husbandry animals that we develop together. I think what we lost in the last years is that we're disconnected with farmers, we're disconnected with our meat, we're disconnected with the people and the food that we eat. And I think with the animals it's the same. We have to rebuild a partnership. We have to reconnect with these animals. If we don't do it, we get crappy products. If we don't do it, we have these huge factory farms. And I have not been to one single slaughtery, and I've been to a few, and not to one farm where the animals are suffering. Because when they are suffering, they're not getting to our butchery. Because if they suffer, we get bad meat. If they have stress in the minute when they are slaughtered, the meat can't be aged like this meat. It can't be, it's not working, it will rot. So we have, I think, in my way, to eat ethical meat, we have to reconnect with people that are producing our food, and we have to reconnect with farmers and with the animals to have this contract that I keep you alive. The animal is only alive because we keep it as an animal on the farm. But I may have to make sure that you have a good life. And I have to make sure that you have a short and stressless death. And then that's part of the contract too, for your life that is easy, that I eat you. What she didn't show in the numbers is that a wild animal, if you Google it, you can really Google it on Wikipedia. 90% of the wild pigs, for instance, die when they're like between 4 or 5. They do not make it over 5 years. And they die very cruel and ugly death in the forest. So this is not really true that an animal can be like, it can maybe like live very long, but only if we care about it. And this is, I think, the connection that we lost. The animals only stay with us because they have a better life than being in the wild. This contract I wanted to throw in. And the last point I wanted to show you very quick is this guy. Because he made something very nice. He took my book and invited all the people in the book to Copenhagen, because there are more people like me and my butchery that want to eat different meat and that want to have a different farming behind their meat. So we met up in Copenhagen with like these 30 people, and we built up an NGO, which is now growing, which is called the Butcher's Manifesto. I think we had heard the manifesto before in a talk about the Polish identity. And there we connect together. These are people from all around the world, from USA, from Holland, from Belgium. Also one Polish guy was there. And these are butchers and farmers that work on different issues around meat. We talk and we sign the Butcher's Manifesto in the end. These are the participants that signed the Butcher's Manifesto to say, like, we want different meat, we want to have a different butchery craft. And I just wanted to show you some pictures, because for me it's so important. Imagine people caring about the meat that you're eating. And that was one of the most touching moments. When I was in this big slaughterhouse, I saw people suffering on the line. They only do like one cut. People from Poland, people from Ukraine now, they have shitty jobs. And I wanted to change that. And 3 weeks ago, I was in Copenhagen, and these people came together from the US, from Switzerland, from Germany, from Canada, from Belgium, from France. And what you also see, it's men and it's women. And these faces produce or try to make better meat and ethical meat for you. And I was so happy that these people are gathering now. And I think there's an international movement towards better meat and against this crappy meat that we saw before. And I hope that this is a way into the future. And thank you very much. And I'm looking forward for the discussion.